Welcome back. In this week's episode of Mom Matters, the panel discusses the paradox of mom emotions. In a recent Idaho-focused Gallup poll for Idaho moms, gratitude and happiness are at the top of the list. Welcome to Mom Matters, created by moms for moms, a safe and non-judgmental space for moms' voices to be heard. Throughout the conversations, we've been utilizing information from a recent Gallup poll focused specifically on Idaho moms. This information points to the fact that most Idaho moms report what they describe as a paradox of emotions throughout the day. Our Mom Matters panel recently discussed this, and today we're going to share how we do our absolute best to manage these emotions. And I say best because we all know it's a roller coaster, right? And let's recap some of those emotions that we talked about in our last episode here on Mom Matters, because it's a wide range. I just want to touch on it really quick to remind our audience, and then I want to get into those helpful points that we all felt really needed to be shared, right? Okay, so what's an emotion that you typically feel that you is in the paradox, Krista?
Well, last week it was anger.
Yes.
But there's joy in there, and sometimes there's confusion. Confusion is always a good one.
I deal with frustration a lot. Frustration.
That's a go-to for me.
Frustration. Just holding it and going, no, it's okay, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, and until it's not. Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I read that frustration is a negative response to adversity. And so every time it comes up for me, I go, okay, there's something that I need to overcome. I'm frustrated. Don't let it evolve into anger, because that's my tension is like gratitude and then anger.
Yes.
Like, where is the anger coming from? And usually it's when I don't get my way on something.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I keep hovering between uncertainty and burnout. Burnout because it encompasses, it's not really an emotion, but it encompasses a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
So I think burnout speaks to me just because it could be, frustration, it could be I'm tired, it could be, all sorts of things. But then uncertainty because there's always, I'm worried about my child's health, I'm worried about how they're doing in school, I'm worried about, even getting them to soccer on time. So uncertainty as well.
Yeah, and along with that, like depletion, because you're feeling stretched thin in all areas, but you're giving and giving because you want to give in these areas of your life. But the gratitude, I think that's something that ultimately coming back to as like a foundation, that there's space to have all of these emotions coexisting at the same time.
Yes, yeah, so well said. And how do we come back to that space of gratitude, Genevieve, with all these emotions, right? When we're feeling burnt out and depleted and frustrated and angry and all the things.
Yeah, I think gratitude journaling is super powerful.
Yes.
Even if you have to sit there and just write like the most surface level of gratitude, I think that getting in that headspace of, they talk about your neurology and the pathways that you're making, that your brain or your mind only knows the pathways that you're creating. So if you're constantly focused on the frustration and you're just giving into that, yes, it's important to acknowledge the frustration and what is the sensation that you want to be creating. So if we can train ourselves to turn to gratitude, and it's not a toxic positivity, it's not negating the rest of the emotions, it's once you've given space for those emotions, you want to hold on to that gratitude.
One of the things that I've come across that's really helped is heart-focused breathing.
Yeah.
Where you take your attention and put it in the area of the heart, you breathe a little slower and deeper while acknowledging those emotions, because the burnout is the overcare. If people think it's compassion fatigue, you don't really burn out because you've given so much compassion. It's the overcare. So it's when the worry comes in. So we may be hesitant, we may be uncertain, then it turns into worry, and then it's an overcare. So we deplete those emotions. And I say, it becomes like junk food for the body. So dropping into the heart and doing that breathing, oh my gosh, and bringing in the gratitude right after, your whole just physiological nature resets and you bring in those good hormones.
We hear time and time again, anyone who's totally into science or even has touched any point of mental health, we hear again and again that humans are naturally disposed, if you will, to go to the negative, to think of the negative. And it's for survival reasons when we were, Cro-Magnon men and women. But you can, science has proven, you can create new pathways in the brain and train yourself to look at the bright side, if you will.
Right.
Look on the bright side of life, right? As Monty Python always says. But it is so true. But how we get there and do that, it's hard.
Right.
It's a lot of work, but it's work that is worth it, right? Ladies, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know I adore you all. All right, everyone, make sure that you keep it here from Mom Matters every Wednesday at 12:30 on Idaho Today. You can also relive these conversations and see them in succession at the Idaho Today landing page at ktvb.com.